Agenda item number 4, Manston Airport, non-determination planning appeals. The planning officer will now outline the report.
Thank you, Chairman, and good evening, members of the committee and members of the public. This agenda item concerns 4 appeals, 3 of which have been appealed on with regards to non-determination of applications to change uses of buildings at the Manston Airport site. So the agenda item is actually to ascertain the Council's view on these 3 applications, which have, as I said, been appealed to the Planning Inspectorate. To give you an indication of these buildings, and members will recall the various presentations from from August to October last year with regards to building 870 or building 2, which is in this location here. At the same time as that application was submitted, 3 other applications were submitted for other buildings within the airport site. Building 1, which is in this location in the centre of the airport site here. Building 3, which is adjacent to building 870, also known as building 2. And building 4, which is the former equine unit, which is the smaller building in this location here. So building 1 is located just to the south of the terminal building, which is why it's referred to as such in the description within the agenda item. That's what building 1 looks like. And then the other site, so round where Spitfire Way goes across the north of the buildings here. Building 870, building 2, which was the application that members considered previously, is in this location here, and then building 3 and building 4 are located here. Now the applications that were submitted were to seek the change of use from aviation uses to general industrial uses or storage and distribution uses. They were non-aviation uses, and therefore they required a change of use application. So the application that was put before members was for the change of use of building 870, and as members will recall, that was debated at length at various meetings, and the facts of that particular case were interrogated, and the principle of development was found to be unsound by members. It was considered that the proposal was contrary to policy EC4, which talks about development in this particular area being essential airside development only, and CC1, which precludes new development in the countryside where there is no need for that development. It is the Council's strong position that EC4 and CC1 are still up to date and valid planning policies. It's recommended in the report that members confirm that they would have refused the 3 applications that have been appealed for non-determination to the Planning Inspectorate on the same grounds that the application was refused by them previously for building 2 or 870. Apologies for jumping around with the names of the different buildings. This is outlined within section 4 of the agenda report, which runs through the process of events which has led to these appeals being put in. This is, I think, the first time this committee has looked at non-determination appeals, and we do have a strict timescale with regards to appeal statements that have to be submitted to the Planning Inspectorate. We've extended the deadline for this statement to include this meeting to ensure that we can ascertain what the Planning Committee and therefore the Council feel with regards to these particular applications. As an aside, there is another appeal against the refusal of the building 2, which is the appeal statement is being prepared to support the Council's position, which was refusal. So therefore, the recommendation which is set out in 7.1 is that members confirm that they would have refused the other 3 applications for the separate buildings at building 1, building 3 and building 4 on the grounds that the proposed development by virtue of the loss of a building for aviation use would create the potential need for additional buildings within the countryside and not constitute essential airside development contrary to Thanet Local Plan Policy CC1 and EC4, and paragraphs 14 and 17, and guidance within the National Planning Policy Framework. Thank you, Chairman.
Well, I move that the officer's recommendation is adopted. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Bainbridge. Move to the debate. Anybody want to debate this at all? Councillor Taylor-Smith.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I thank you, Mr Livingston, for outlining all the information in the report. Obviously, we didn't have an opportunity to look at these applications. I did attend and was part of the meeting for the Building 870, and I'd just like to agree totally that personally I would have come to the same decision with all of these three planning applications that now the council is having to prepare a report on the appeal. So I'd just like to say absolutely, totally agree with the recommendation that you have just said on all three. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Taylor-Smith. Councillor Hayton.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yes, I totally agree with the officer's viewpoint on this. I think we would have, I'm certain we would have refused it, recommended refusal on this, because it's so in keeping with what people we represent think. I know there are a few people against the airport, but I think the majority of people in Thanet are for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hayton. Councillor Ashby.
Thank you, Chair. I think the circumstances that surrounded the original application also apply to these three, and therefore totally agree with colleagues here that we should be supporting the refusal of planning permission on these other applications.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ashby. Right, I'd like to put this now to the vote that the officer's recommendation is adopted. Those in favour of the recommendation? Are those against? Abstentions? Motion carried.